Hey everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're talking about episode 5 of A Condition Called Love. Another episode, another round of heartfelt confessions. It's great seeing Hananoi and Hotaru opening up to each other and trying to understand each other's point of view. It's one of my favorite aspects of the show, and it just continues to get better and better with each episode that comes out. In this episode, I'm about to tell you something I never thought that I would be saying, which is that it was really cool seeing Hotaru considering the advice of her friend, that if you think it's love, and that it's different for different people. This girl drove me crazy in the first few episodes, but I think that we are starting to see that she didn't necessarily have bad intentions, or that she wasn't trying to make sure her relationship was exclusively the only relationship in their friend group or something like that. I think I'm actually starting to trust her a bit more and think that she is actually out for Hotaru's best interests. And I think that it's nice that instead of continuing to try and tear down Hananoi, that she still has her own opinions on him, but that she does seem supportive of the fact that Hotaru has decided for the time being that she is continuing with this trying to date him and see how it goes approach. It's also good to see Hananoi realizing that he doesn't need to throw every facet of himself into being with someone. It shouldn't be a matter of losing himself to a partner. It makes stuff like cutting his hair and waiting in the cold make more sense. We've been kind of confused as to why he does stuff like that, but I think after hearing him talk about the fact that he feels that he should give everything to a relationship because it's the only relationship he really builds or grows, and that it hasn't worked out for him in the past, so now he feels like he needs to give everything, including himself. I think it shows what his behavior has been like and what's been at the root of that behavior. I don't necessarily think that Hananoi is a bad person in any way. I don't think he has ill intentions, but I do think that it's interesting how the show uses the behaviors he does exhibit in order to create potential mystery or suspense. And I think that's a really interesting technique for the story and for how the characters are being presented. I love the fact that he's a bit of an imp, like with the locked door that wasn't actually locked because he wanted more time with Hotaru on the roof. I do think that it's likely that that kind of behavior has bitten him on the butt in the past. I'm sure there are some girls who have had him do stuff like that to them and been like, what the hell is wrong with you? Especially in a modern context, because a lot of women have a lot less tolerance for bullshit from guys and often are looking for reasons to leave. It's just something about the way things are today. It's very different. I think it kind of goes down to the idea that back in the day, love and relationships were things that were a necessity for a woman, whereas now it's more so a matter of desire. Do you want this? Is this something you want to have or even put up with in your life? Which can make it so that when people do certain things, there is a lot less room for error and room for grace and room to put up with what could be perceived as bullshit. I'm glad they didn't dig into the other woman trope and that they nipped that in the bud pretty much right away. I thought it was cool how they used it to express the difference in how Hotaru and Hananoi actually view friendships. His theory of friendship was actually really screwed up, but it definitely shows us something about his character, that he feels that he wants to have one person he puts everything into. It kind of reminds me of the mentality of applying your own mask if you're ever in a situation on an airplane, which, I mean, when you're in a utilitarian situation where things are life and death, I can understand why people might behave like that. But the fact that Hananoi is in this situation where he is behaving with this utilitarian or practical approach to things, or pragmatic might be the better word, rather than from an emotional standpoint and trying to build connections, tells me that there must be something about his past and even possibly his present that is impacting him. Again, I would relay back to the idea that we know his parents are doctors and that they are not at home, which means they're probably off on some kind of mission or something. I wonder whether he has grown up in an environment where he is used to thinking about things like diseases and natural disasters and other crises, and that his mind maybe works in some kind of crisis mode, where he feels that everything has to be seen through that angle, and that's impacting him as your average high school boy who is supposed to just be living his life, but who might be affected and influenced by things that are going on around him that he can't control. Just a thought. Getting back to the situation with the girl who wanted to be introduced to him, though, I thought that it was interesting the way they used her, in that she actually was interested in meeting him because he looked like an idol she had a crush on. And when she was talking to Hotaru, she was actually all like, yeah, like if I was interested in him, I'd want him to grow out his hair, which I thought was an interesting touch. And I thought it said something about something women often do, which is women are more likely to try and change men than men are to change women. Or another way to put it, potentially, because it depends on the person, is that men are more likely to change for women than women are to change for men. When a man and a woman get together, generally speaking, a man is more likely to become better dressed, to have a cleaner home, to be more organized, and that sort of thing, because of a woman's influence. Whereas a woman is actually more likely to wear less makeup, to dress less fancy, and to basically calm or settle down. It's just a thought that I was thinking when I was hearing that part of the story, and I was like, oh, that makes me think of something. The thing I liked most about the episode, though, was the date that Hotaru planned, and the fact that it wasn't flawless, which made perfect sense because it was her first time planning something like this. I'm really glad that it had some bumps along the way. The movie scaring her, the restaurant being closed, and that these mix-ups actually showed that the two are comfortable enough with each other that they were able to change plans on the fly and still have a good time. I also really like their date because it reminds me of the kind of dates that I go on with my guy, and it's really fun to see that this is such a common type of thing for people to get together and to do, because I think it's a really cool way to go out and be with somebody, because sure, during a movie itself you're not necessarily talking, but then you go out for food and you have something instantly that you can discuss, and then it's fun to go around and go shopping and stuff. I liked the fact that it was such a simple and straightforward date idea, but that she really tried to tailor it to him and to trying to help him have a good time, much like he did for her in episode 3. Another thing that this situation brought up is the idea that Hotaru actually tells him that she thinks that going on dates with him is fun, which obviously stands in contrast to the thoughts we heard him reflecting on in his mind from other girls that have been displeased with being with him at various times. And I thought that it was cute that this is something that is highlighted. I also thought that it was really sweet that she's like, I really, really like you, but I think he'd already fallen asleep, so he doesn't really know she said it. But I think she's starting to become more aware of the fact that she definitely sees him in a way that's different than how she sees her friends. Whether she's fully willing to admit that, or whether she fully understands the consequences of that potentially, it's definitely there. Overall, I thought this was a rock solid episode. I super enjoyed it. I thought that the development of the characters is going along really well, and I like where we are going with them. I like the fact that they are focusing on the fact that these are two teenagers who are dealing with like having a first love experience, especially Hotaru. And I thought it was really cool, as I said at the beginning, that the friend reminds her that if you think it's love, it's love. That kind of made me think of this song called Then by Brad Paisley, where the chorus goes, like a river meets the sea, stronger than it's ever been. We've come so far since that day, and I thought I loved you then. These guys are teenagers. They don't really have the kind of life experience somebody's going to have at 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, being with your partner 62 years or something. But that doesn't mean that what they feel isn't real, or that what they feel doesn't matter, because the thing is, what you're feeling at and in a moment absolutely matters to you, and people shouldn't be trying to shortchange that or make you feel like it doesn't. I think that it's possible that Hotaru has these ideas of what love should feel like to her, and that one of the things she's going to need to overcome is the reality that love is going to just be. And also, I mean, that she's still trying to figure out what it means to like someone, let alone to love someone, because those are two different animals. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble. I think we've had enough on this for the week. So what did you guys think? I'd love to know, so feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!